So, what are the actual risks of adopting a tool like this for a clinician? Like, I can imagine, if the AI hallucinates a pertinent positive or negative on an ER note transcript, that could potentially result in a lawsuit later on. Like, what would when you guys as a company are evaluating this and then like just answering these questions to users and potential users, like where do you actually see the risks and the problems, and how do you plan to address that going forwards with either the technology just advancing as the industry itself, or in terms of what you guys have planned coming up with the company internally?
Yeah, so hallucinations is like the main pitfall right now of these large language models, um, and it's actually in some respects the rarer they are, the more challenging to find a like routinized process to deal with them. Because right now, basically, um, we have a very stringent human revision process for the output of the AI. The, the AI generated note is very clearly labeled an unfinalized note. It is not to be considered the doctor's signed off, final version, um, and that's appropriate. Like we have a human in that loop to ensure that it's not executing on a clinical action when it shouldn't. Um, right now our hallucinations are relatively rare, so it's part of that editing process. It's just looped into that at this point. Where I'm getting like some concern, I mean, not right now, but may be in the future, is that there's this tendency that when a technology starts to work really, really well, there's a dependency on it where there's a bit of I wouldn't call it laziness, but a sort of just routinizing of just assuming it's always correct, but that 1% of the time or less where it's completely incorrect, you just got in the habit of skimming in your revision process rather than like methodically looking through the note that the AI created. Um, this is known to happen with many technologies, and we have to keep a process where the human is in the loop for the indefinite future until we figured out a way about really assessing our error rate as humans compared to the error rate of the AI on its own without supervision, just like we do for other technologies that we deploy in healthcare that is not being reviewed by a human, right? I think Health Canada and FDA are currently reviewing proposals on how to deal with AI models where there's a continuous stream of data, where it's continuously learning. And when new data is inputted, potentially new hallucinations are generated, right? So where do you have those safeguards in place? It's very complex. I think this is actually the challenge of our time. For us right now at Mutuo, we're just leaning on being extremely conservative and cautious and just seeing how it all plays out.
So just as an industry, we're not quite there yet. And that set it and forget it, like where you just click finish and submit and your note's done. It's going to probably be a few years until we just like evolve better tech to facilitate that. And in the interim, you're always having to like read through and sign off, just I guess same as you would for your resident or your student learners notes.
Yeah, that's just how we have to do it for now. Maybe that will change, but for now, and it feels like you're getting the benefits of the AI while also ensuring that like us as clinicians, we're in the driver's seat for patient care.
What about the privacy and security side of things? How do you address people's concerns when they mention that? Just the healthcare data, obviously, that's a really sensitive thing and needs to be protected. How do you address that?
Yeah, so this is really important. This is like at our foundation, what we focused on. Um, there are clear legislative rules about how um, personal health information, um, data related to a person's healthcare, but also like identifiers and also things that are mentioned in a conversation that um, are not just data fields in an EMR, right? They're actually in streaming consciousness, just coming out with something sensitive, right? So it ends up being that whole audio, the whole dialogue, for us, we deem it as sensitive as individual personal health information data points. And the only way to ensure trustworthiness of our platform is to prove through auditing by both privacy and cybersecurity experts that we've essentially put in every safeguard, consenting mechanism, policies, procedures, encryption at different levels and different domains of our system and our servers, etc. Like, we've gone through this very rigorously, and now we have provable audits that show that this has all been done, and that we're continuously reevaluating them, right? The more we develop, we're getting buy-in because essentially when we show all the documentation to, let's say, hospitals who have in-house privacy and security experts, they say, okay, they've met the required bar. We have a privately hosted large language model. Yes, if some data leaked into the model, like personal health information leaked to the model, it doesn't matter because it's our private hosted model. It's not going to the OpenAI, Open ChatGPT public model, right? So we've had to develop according to that cadence, and that included, as I mentioned earlier, we always knew that OpenAI's model was the best, but we couldn't use it until it came to Canada in a private Azure instance, and that was took a few months after initial launch. So we just kept using what we had initially, and then we upgraded after the fact, and that's just how we'll have to do it. Wait until Microsoft or Google or whoever comes up with new models, and we'll leverage them. And what we're really excited about actually is, and the whole reason we called ourselves Mutuo is there's this mutual dynamic between the doctors who are inputting the data in a high quality way, because then we can use the high quality data to improve our AI models, right? And it's just a positive feedback loop. We give them better performance in our models. They're incentivized to give us higher quality data, etc. So what we're excited about is how do we intake that data over time to bend the large language models to being less biased over time. And that'll entrench even more trustworthiness on top of the privacy and security aspect.
I'm Dr. Jordan Vollrath, and you've been watching Cherry Live, brought to you by Mutuo Health. Please like and subscribe to see more clips like this, or check us out at www.cherry.health, Canada's medical network.